Every building, every technological advancement, every work of art, all of it originated from an almost invisible moment. A thought. A flash of an idea, a spark of consciousness that expanded until it materialized. Just like a tree starts from a small seed, the reality around us is the result of what we plant in our minds. This simple truth shows how fundamental our thoughts are in shaping the world we perceive. Reality, therefore, is more than something external and tangible. It is a direct extension of our state of consciousness. Every thought, every belief, acts as a lens through which we view and experience the world. When we firmly believe in something, our actions, emotions, and even our perceptions begin to align with that belief, shaping our surroundings to confirm what we hold within us. And it is precisely this power that makes us co-creators of our own life experiences. The key to transforming the world around us doesn't lie in controlling external events but in learning how to navigate the inner universe. When we understand that our mind works as an interface with reality, we realize that thoughts are actually the starting point for all transformation. We are endowed with immense creative potential, and by directing that potential consciously, we can transform even the most complex situations into opportunities for growth. The relationship between the mind and body is not just metaphorical but an intrinsically real connection that operates on deep energetic levels. Thought is not merely a mental activity, it is fundamentally an expression of energy. Everything we think emits a frequency, a vibration, and this energy, though invisible to our eyes, can influence the state of our physical body and the circumstances around us. To understand this connection, we can turn to the concept of chakras. Chakras are energy centers throughout the body that regulate our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Every thought we generate has the power to activate or block these energy centers. For instance, when we cultivate fearful thoughts, this can create blockages that affect our physical health, causing pain and illness. On the other hand, thoughts of peace, love, and confidence tend to promote free energy flow, favoring the body's balance and harmony. This idea that thoughts and emotions affect our physical state is supported by the phenomenon of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself over time. Our thought patterns create neural pathways that shape how our brain responds to the world. If we continually reinforce negative thoughts, we are literally strengthening those connections, making them faster and more automatic. Conversely, by cultivating positive thoughts, we create new neural pathways that allow us to see the world with fresh eyes and react in a healthier, more balanced way. This energetic perspective shows that the mind and body are not separate entities but rather parts of an interdependent system. The energy generated by thought can shape the body's state, just as physical health can influence the quality of our thoughts. By learning to cultivate thoughts that promote energy expansion, we open the way for our body to align with a state of greater health and renewed vitality. Throughout history, human beliefs about the power of thought have undergone a fascinating evolution. From ancient philosophers to modern spiritual practices, we find evidence of the crucial role of thoughts in shaping reality. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato and Socrates reflected on the nature of the mind and its influence on the world. Plato, for instance, believed that ideas were the true essence of reality and that the physical world was merely an imperfect reflection of these ideas. To him, reality began in the realm of thought, in an invisible world that preceded and shaped the visible world. This view is not so different from ideas found in Eastern traditions like Hinduism, where the mind is seen as the creator of the experiences we live. In Buddhism, there is a deep emphasis on the role of the mind. Buddha's famous quote says, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become." This statement reflects an ancient understanding that thoughts have an inherent power to shape our reality, influencing both our perception and the circumstances that manifest around us. In the spiritual realm, we also find the practices of medieval mystics and alchemists, who sought the great work, the transformation of the self. They viewed inner transformation, achieved through discipline of thoughts and emotions, as the key to transmuting external reality. This led to the development of various practices aimed at self-mastery and the elevation of consciousness. In the modern era, thinkers like Ralph Waldo Emerson and William James highlighted the importance of personal beliefs in shaping individual reality. Emerson spoke of the power of thought as the force that organizes and shapes matter, while James, one of the founders of modern psychology, believed that internal beliefs and attitudes were fundamental factors in determining success or failure in life. Thus, the understanding of the power of thought is not a recent concept. It has been present in various forms throughout human history, and what we see today are merely new perspectives on an ancient truth. Our thoughts possess a creative nature. If we look at humanity's trajectory, we see that there has always been a quest to understand and master this inner force. This makes it clear that beliefs and thoughts not only influence our perception of the world but also have the power to shape it on very deep levels. Once we understand the power of thoughts, the question arises, how can we transform them in a practical way? There are tools that help us redefine and reprogram the mind, making it possible to overcome limitations and shape more positive and empowering beliefs. One of the most powerful techniques for this purpose is neurolinguistic programming, NLP. Developed in the 1970s, NLP offers a practical approach to understanding how language and thought patterns influence our behavior. It shows us that we can reframe past experiences, change how we perceive current situations, and thus alter our future. NLP works directly with the subconscious, helping to identify limiting beliefs and transform them, often almost instantly. For example, if someone fears public speaking, NLP can help redefine the experience of anxiety as excitement, altering how the body and mind respond to the situation. Another powerful technique is hypnotherapy. Hypnosis works in an altered state of consciousness, where access to the subconscious is more direct. In this state, we can reprogram beliefs often formed in childhood that still limit our ability to act in life fully. During hypnotherapy, an individual is led to a state of deep relaxation where positive suggestions are directly inserted into the subconscious mind, leading to significant and lasting changes in thought patterns. In addition to these techniques, the practice of gratitude stands out as a simple but incredibly effective tool for transforming one's mindset. When we practice gratitude consciously, we shift our focus to the positive aspects of our lives. This simple act of recognizing what we already have and are allows us to cultivate a higher vibration, which in turn attracts circumstances that resonate with that frequency. Neuroscience shows that gratitude activates areas of the brain associated with pleasure and reward, contributing to the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine that promote feelings of well-being and happiness. These tools enable us to act as the architects of our own minds. By using NLP, hypnotherapy, or practicing gratitude, we are making a conscious effort to rewrite the patterns that control our lives. We are transforming beliefs that limit our potential and replacing them with beliefs that empower us, creating space for a more conscious and fulfilling life. The relationship between consciousness and physical reality has been the subject of deep and fascinating discussions, particularly in the context of quantum physics. Quantum physics is one of the areas of modern science that suggests that reality as we know it is not as objective as we once imagined. Instead, there is evidence that consciousness directly influences the behavior of matter. A classic example of this concept is the double-slit experiment, in which subatomic particles such as electrons behave differently depending on whether or not they are being observed. When they are not observed, they behave like waves, distributing in interference patterns as if they were in multiple places at once. However, when they are observed, they act like particles taking on a defined position. This experiment leads to the intriguing idea that reality may not be completely separate from our perception and that the act of observing may, in some way, determine the behavior of matter. These scientific discoveries echo what spiritual and philosophical traditions have been asserting for millennia, that the external reality is shaped, or at least influenced, by our minds. In Hinduism, for instance, we find the concept of Maya, which describes the world as an illusion shaped by our perceptions and beliefs. In Taoism, there is a belief in a deep connection between the individual and the universe, where everything is interconnected by a subtle force. This view suggests that our intentions, thoughts, and emotions have a direct impact not only on our subjective experiences but on the very nature of physical reality. The idea that consciousness influences matter is also present in the practice of setting intentions. When we focus on an intention with clarity and energy, we are, in a way, shaping the field of possibilities around us. Scientists like Dr. Masaru Emoto, known for his studies on water, suggest that even the simplest matter can be affected by consciousness. Emoto demonstrated how words and thoughts directed at water alter the formation of its crystals when frozen, suggesting that human intentions can influence the structure of reality. All of this leads us to a powerful conclusion. Consciousness is not passive. It is not merely a window through which we observe the world. It is an active force, a tool that can shape and alter the conditions around us. Thus, The way we choose to think and what we focus on can influence the very nature of what we experience. Every thought we nurture, every belief we cultivate, participates in the complex process of manifesting reality. The power of positive thinking and sincere belief is not just an abstract theory or a spiritual interpretation. It is lived, experienced, and witnessed every day by people who decide to change their perspectives and, consequently, their lives. Stories of personal transformation show that by changing how we think, we can transform seemingly unchangeable circumstances. A remarkable example is the case of Louise Hay, who became known for her work in personal development and self-help. Louise went through various hardships, including childhood trauma and a serious illness in adulthood. However, by adopting practices of positive affirmations and working on her limiting beliefs, she managed to heal herself from cancer and completely transform her life. The belief in the power of thoughts and the practice of transforming negative patterns were essential to her recovery. From this experience, Louise dedicated her life to helping others heal by changing their mindset, sharing the idea that our thoughts have a real impact on our health and well-being. There is also the inspiring story of Joe Dispenza, a scientist who suffered a serious accident that left him with multiple spinal fractures. Doctors advised him to undergo invasive surgery with little chance of full success. Instead, Dispenza decided to use meditation and visualization to promote his own healing. He spent months visualizing his spine regenerating and healing, and against all expectations he managed to walk again. Today, Joe Dispenza is an author and speaker, teaching millions of people around the world how the mind and visualization can directly influence the body and reality. Beyond these well-known examples, there are countless everyday stories of ordinary people who transformed their lives by changing their beliefs. There are accounts of people who, by changing their mindset, managed to get out of debt, heal relationships, achieve career goals, and even improve their health. The common denominator among these stories is the conscious decision to alter their thinking pattern, from a negative, limiting view to one of possibility and confidence. An important point in these accounts is that positive thinking does not mean denying problems or ignoring a difficult reality, but rather choosing to focus on solutions, possibilities, and what is good amidst challenges. This choice to direct energy toward what we want to create instead of what we fear is what transforms belief into a powerful tool for creating reality. By changing their internal dialogue and cultivating new beliefs, these individuals began to see the world differently, and consequently, the world around them also changed. These stories of transformation show that by changing the beliefs and thoughts we have about ourselves and the world, we create new opportunities, open doors that were once closed, and are capable of reframing our existence. The power is within us, and the key lies in learning to use consciousness intentionally, shaping our experiences from the inside out. One of the subtlest yet crucial aspects of manifesting reality is the concept of detachment. It may seem paradoxical at first. If we intensely want something, why should we detach from it? However, detachment is an essential component for reality to align with our intentions fully. Detachment doesn't mean that we should stop desiring or stop caring about what we want. Instead, it refers to the ability not to obsessively cling to the final outcome, to not let fear of lack or anxiety about the future overshadow the manifestation process. When we become overly attached to a specific outcome, we create tension and anxiety, which often act as barriers to the realization of our desires. This energetic resistance hinders the natural flow of reality, which often needs space to unfold in ways we may not have foreseen. A helpful metaphor for understanding detachment is thinking of planting a seed. When we plant a seed, there is a certain degree of care required. We need to water it, provide sunlight, and keep the soil nourished. However, there also comes a point where we must trust the process of nature. We cannot force the seed to grow or become anxious every second, waiting to see it sprout. The same applies to our desires and intentions. We need to nurture them with positive thoughts, consistent actions, and coherent emotions, but we also need to let go of rigid control over when and how they will flourish. Detachment teaches us to trust the flow of life, the greater intelligence behind the events. When we let go, we allow life to bring us what we desire, or something even better, often in unexpected ways. It is this trust, this surrender to the process, that aligns energies and enables us to manifest our intentions in a lighter and more fluid manner. Practices like meditation are extremely effective in cultivating detachment. Meditation helps us create a state of calm and presence where anxiety about the future diminishes, and we can focus on the present moment. When we are truly present, desire ceases to be a source of anguish and becomes a simple, pressure-free intention. This kind of attitude allows reality to organize itself in the best way to manifest our desires, often in ways we would never imagine. Detachment, therefore, is a form of trust. It is believing that the universe, life, or however we prefer to call it, has a natural course and that our conscious intention, when planted and nurtured appropriately, will inevitably manifest. It is a fundamental component of the art of manifesting, to desire, act, cultivate, but also to let go, creating the space necessary for possibilities to flourish. Thoughts, often seen as mere mental occurrences, carry a spiritual essence that extends beyond what we can see or measure. They are manifestations of our consciousness, and this consciousness is deeply connected to the fabric of the universe. The spiritual nature of thoughts reveals itself in how each one carries its own energy, a silent intention that reverberates in the environment, influencing both our lives and the world around us. There is an ancient idea present in many spiritual traditions that thoughts are like silent prayers. When we think, we are, in a sense, sending vibrations to the universe, whether of love, fear, or hope. These vibrations have the power to attract situations, people, and circumstances that resonate with the kind of energy we are emitting. Just like prayers, thoughts have a sacred quality and can be used as tools to shape our destiny. They are not merely reactions to what happens but real catalysts that shape reality. The notion that everything is interconnected is part of many spiritual traditions. In Taoism, there is a belief in the Tao, a principle that flows through all life, connecting every being and every thought to the great universal flow. Similarly, in Hinduism, the concept of Atman, the individual soul, is seen as an integral part of Brahman, the universal soul. When we think, we are not just affecting our own isolated reality, we are, in fact, interacting with the energy field of all existence. This connection is also addressed by the science of intention. Some experiments and research suggest that thoughts and intentions can influence not only our personal experiences but also the material world in surprising ways. While these effects may be subtle and not easily observable through traditional methods, they point to an important truth. Our thoughts are somehow connected to the creative flow of the universe, functioning as tools for co-creation. Understanding that thoughts have a spiritual nature implies responsibility. Every thought generates a wave like a stone thrown into a lake, creating ripples that expand in all directions. When we hold positive thoughts, of compassion, love, and hope, these vibrations extend beyond us and positively influence the field around us. Conversely, negative thoughts, such as hatred, envy, or resentment, also leave their mark, both on our mind and body and in the environment around us. Thus, the practice of thought vigilance is more than an exercise in mental well-being, it is a spiritual practice. By cultivating elevated, conscious, and intentional thoughts, we are also nurturing a deeper connection with the universe, contributing to a more harmonious energy field. When we think about what we want to achieve, when we visualize the future we desire, we are, in a way, making a spiritual offering to the universe, inviting it to collaborate with us in materializing our desires. Throughout this script, we have explored the importance of thoughts and the power they have to shape our reality. From the energetic connection between mind and body to the profound, spiritual and quantum implications of our thoughts, it becomes clear that the way we think not only influences but literally creates our life experience. Every thought is a seed, a small intention that, when nurtured and cultivated, can grow into something much greater. It is up to each of us to decide which seeds we want to plant and how we want our mental garden to flourish. We are all co-creators of our reality. The mind is not passive. It is active and powerful, and when used consciously, it can completely transform our lives. Through techniques like NLP, hypnotherapy, and the practice of gratitude, we have practical tools to redefine our beliefs, disarm limiting patterns, and cultivate a mindset that fosters growth and fulfillment. These methods, combined with understanding the power of detachment and trust in life's flow, help us align our intentions with the reality we wish to manifest. The invitation, then, is to reflect on the thoughts we are nurturing daily. Are we focusing on what we desire or on what we fear? Are we choosing thoughts that nurture our inner peace or those that amplify our suffering? Remember that every thought shapes reality and that the power to transform it is in your hands. By committing to shape your thoughts with intentionality, you are not only changing your own life but also impacting the world around you in a positive and meaningful way. Finally, remember, the external reality is an extension of your consciousness. Every moment is an opportunity to create, renew, and transform. If you enjoyed this content, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more deep reflections like this one. Let's explore together the power of the mind and the incredible capacity we all have to transform our lives, one thought at a time.